The latest now on the Brexit crisis. British opposition parties are putting up a united front against Prime Minister Boris Johnson's second bid for a snap election. Ollie Barrett has the details.
One of the outcomes is that the opposition parties have agreed that they will not back Boris Johnson's call for an early election yet, at least. Boris Johnson is bringing a vote on that, or is due to bring a vote on an early election back to the House of Commons on Monday, and opposition parties have agreed that at that point they will not back Boris Johnson's bid for a snap election to take place on October the 15th. It now looks much more likely that any election would need to take place after October the 31st, that current date that Britain is due to leave the European Union, but opposition parties want to get to that point and make sure that they have been able to force the government to avoid a no-deal Brexit. It's much more likely that after that point opposition parties will be willing to go into an election, because some of them figure they're going to do pretty well.
Yesterday, Mr. Johnson told reporters he would rather die than delay Brexit beyond the current deadline of end of October.
Can you make a promise today to the British public that you will not go back to Brussels and ask for another delay to Brexit?
Yes.
And
I can.
And would you
I'd rather be dead in a ditch.
Today he's winding up a turbulent week with a visit to Scotland. In preparation for a snap election, he's visiting farms and fish markets and is expected to announce an $85 million US boost for Scottish farmers. If you remember, Scotland voted not to leave the EU in the Brexit referendum 2 years ago. Here's Ollie Barrett again with more.
Well, part of it is Boris Johnson's attempt to show that he can unite the entire United Kingdom and that he's not governing just for those English voters who wanted Britain to leave the European Union. It's also partly because he knows that a general election is coming at some point soon, and he knows that his party is in a little bit of difficulty in Scotland, not particularly popular there at the moment in the polls, and so Boris Johnson attempting to shore up some support north of the border. And obviously there are some key issues at play with regards to Brexit as well. You mentioned agriculture, issues like that Boris Johnson wants to continue to talk about, and this is all part of effectively an election campaign now, even though we don't yet know when that election exactly is going to take place.